Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Thought Leader Recruitment podcast. Today, I'm joined by Ran Sullivan, Director of CompuStaff. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sam. Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. Can you first off just share everyone what CompuStaff focuses on?
So, CompuStaff is an IT recruitment company. We specialize boutique recruitment, specializing in IT. And most recruitment companies are either a niche vertical or a niche geography. We're both. So we specialize in IT, and we focus predominantly on the west of Ireland, up along from maybe the northwest down to Limerick, so Sligo to Limerick. So we're niche in two areas, I suppose, niche in geography and niche in our specialization in vertical.
Interesting. And what brought you personally into the kind of tech recruitment space?
You've probably heard this from everyone you've spoken to. I didn't talk to a career advisor who said, "Oh, you should be a recruiter." Back, God, 30 years ago when I got into this business, pure accident. I walked into another recruitment company looking for a job in IT because I had retrained in IT at the time, and they sent me out for an interview, which I didn't get. And then when they asked me for the debrief, or when I asked them for the debrief, they went, "Oh, you've a degree in HR and marketing, and you've a postgraduate in IT. Have you ever thought about recruitment?" I went, "No." I was unemployed. They said, "Do you want to try it?" 2 years later, here I am.
Yes, yeah, I do ask that to everyone really, and it's very similar. You know, that they either fell into it or didn't plan it, or it just literally happened. So
Yeah,
it's quite mad. That's everyone's kind of journey. But yeah, it's funny to hear that again.
I think more recently it has become
Yeah,
more of a career option for people, as people have become more aware of the industry. But certainly, any of the veterans like us, it was an accidental
yeah.
fall into it. Yeah.
I recently read that Ireland's tech sector employs over 270,000 people and saw 14% annual growth last year. Are you seeing this momentum impact your clients' needs?
It's funny. IT recruitment, I think, is a bellwether for the economy in general. If you think about the IT industry, and it is a big area in Ireland, and we'll come back to in a second why that is. But IT recruitment or IT industries require very little capital investment or capex. You can set up an IT business with 4 laptops. IT and the industry, and whether they're recruiting or not, is always a great forward indicator of where the economy is going. So, how has it affected us? It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. I have a month's visibility. Over the last 30 years, I've learned that there's about 1 month forward I can see. And to guess any further than that is pure speculation. I've been through 4 recessions now. The dot-com bubble, I don't think many people remember that, but I got into recruitment just as the bubble started, where if you had an IT domain, you could become a multimillionaire and hire people based on the promise of stock alone. No business plans, no idea as to how they were going to monetize their businesses. Y2K, I mean, that was another boom in the IT industry. So the last big boom I think I've certainly seen in IT was COVID. There was certainly a surge in IT, and I think that was because the the need for people to work from home created a particular boom in IT companies that offered the services to allow you to work from home. So you're looking at things like Zoom, WebEx. A lot of companies then overhired in that period. So we saw quite a cull, and then that cull, I suppose, last year was a particularly hard year in the industry. And then, bizarrely enough, as soon as the US presidential election was decided, we always guessed it didn't really matter who won. Once that uncertainty was removed, there'd be another jump in recruitment. And there was. Our first quarter this year, Sam, was probably the best quarter we've had since we opened the business. But now our problem is, again, President Trump is creating an awful lot of uncertainty. So whether you agree with his policies or his ideology or not, that's not a problem. That's not something I want to debate with anyone. But the uncertainty creates forces businesses to sit on their hands and go, will I expand? Will I do this? And they can't make a decision at the moment. And the first thing that gets pulled is recruitment. There's no point in recruitment if we're not going to expand something. So I believe the next month or two is going to be difficult. After that, who knows?
Yeah, due to the uncertainties. So is there a timeline on that, or is it just is there a certain timeline, or just what you're thinking, 1 or 2 months?
It's just over the last 30 years. It's kind of like that gut knowledge of knowing, yeah, that's as far as I can accurately predict in a pipeline as to where things are. I'll be honest with you, whether you're manpower, whether you're the biggest agency in the world or a small little boutique like mine, if you say you have visibility beyond a month, I don't think that you're telling fibs. It's different. It's different if you have a temp book or a contract book. That's a recurring revenue model. But a lot of us, especially as smaller boutique agencies, we're still in contingency recruitment. So, and a lot of the perm stuff out there is still contingency fees. So that's why I say you can't really guess beyond a month accurately as to how things are going to be, which makes it exciting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What's so the market is obviously fiercely competitive. How are you helping candidates stand out?
Recruitment it's black magic. It's a dark magic science, recruitment and selection. And this is the thing that's always intrigued me about the industry and what's kept me here. You can go to a client and it's a great question to ask them. Have you ever recruited a superstar? And they'd say, oh, yeah, yeah. And, have you recruited a dud? Someone that, you knew after a week you had to fire, and they go, yeah. And then the next question is, well, what was different about the way you recruited them? And the answer is usually nothing. So over the years, what I have found is recruitment is as much art as it is science. And I've spent a lot of time, my own research master's was all about matrix and trying to put science around recruitment and selection. And it's difficult. So I always say to candidates when I'm giving them advice, this is my opinion. I can't tell you that this one method of doing your CV is the absolute perfect way to do it, because you might end up with another hiring manager who thinks that, unless your CV is formatted this way, or unless it's 2 pages or 1 page or 13 pages. So that's why I find it a fascinating area. The advice I give to candidates it's practical advice, but I always say to them, I always preface it by saying this is my opinion. And if you ask, and it's the same, you probably know this, Sam, you can ask 20 people about what should be on a CV or how it should be formatted. Chances are you're going to get 20 different answers. So what's the right one? Fortunately, I don't know. It really depends on the company and the hiring manager you're dealing with.
Yeah, yeah. I think with things with CVs and that now, there's a lot of CVs that are kind of getting written by AI, and that's another issue for kind of recruiters to kind of weed out them ones that are written by AI. It's a minefield, isn't it?
So there was a thread on Reddit. I think it's still there, and this person had created an AI bot, and that bot was given instructions essentially to say, go off to LinkedIn, look at all the jobs that I'm 50-60% match for, rewrite my CV to match the keywords that are within the job description, and then send my CV. So once the bot was created, within 4 or 5 seconds, 1,000 applications had gone out, for which they got 50 interviews. Now they weren't looking for work, but I think with AI, and probably AI isn't the right term, it's agentic AI, I think is the term we need to be mindful of. That AI is just me going and asking a question and the data collating and giving me an answer. Agentic AI is where it actually operates independently and manages a process for you. We're going to get into an area where it's a fight between me, the employer, my AI that I use to screen, and me, the candidate, the AI that I use to put my CV out there. So there's stuff like Lazy Apply out there now that will essentially do all this for you as a candidate. And then as clients, we're using AI to screen CVs. And I think it's going to be messy for a couple of years until we figure out. And that's why I think us as recruiters aren't going to become completely redundant. It's going to have a transformational effect on the way we work. But how the human element is still going to be needed, because essentially you're going to have two AIs fighting with each other. The employer's one trying to screen you out and the employee's AI trying to screen them in all the time. And where do we arrive at at a good conclusion? I don't know.
Yeah, it's such an interesting one. AI and recruitment. Have this several podcasts. It's where is it going to go? How much is it going to affect it? And that human touch. That is such a personable industry, isn't it? So
Yeah.
really
But I think
fascinating.
I think a lot of the debate, Sam, has been employer and how we're going to use it for screening and
Yeah,
how it's going to, I watched a live presentation there the last day where an agentic AI did a whole screening process with a candidate, answered all their questions live in real time with human voice. It sounded perfect. Um, and yeah, it's a great tool, but there hasn't been a whole lot of debate yet on the candidates AI. And people got to understand that, the candidates are discovering AI and how it can. So I think where that will land, I'm not sure yet. The debate I'm having with clients at the moment is, or not the debate, but the pitch that I have is, yeah, post your job. You'll get 1,000 CVs. You'll spend the next 6 weeks trying to figure out which is the best candidate. Or you partner with a good recruiter like me. I'll send you 2 CVs, 3 CVs, and you'll hire one of them. So again, we're back to that whole thing of time. How valuable is your time as a business owner, as a hiring manager? Yes, what AI is going to transform things. I still think that there's an interesting debate to be had from the candidate side. At the moment, all we're hearing is the employer side about how we're going to use it to improve our processes and screen in the right people and screen out the right people. Hey, they can't, we haven't got that right in 3,000 years of recruitment. So, is AI going to solve it? No, it's not going to solve it today or tomorrow yet.
yeah, it's so interesting. I
Yeah.
see. There's a recent survey that showed 72% of Irish employers report difficulty filling tech roles. Do you see this as a talent shortage, or are companies just not looking in the right places?
There's a couple. I suppose there's a couple of reasons why it's difficult. I think there's a lack of investment in IT graduates coming out for start. I think more companies should invest in internships and graduate programs. And I don't think enough of them do, or some that do don't, how would I put it? The grads or the interns are left with, rubbish jobs or jobs no one else wants to do, or some sort of role. You go file that stuff. Then no one else wants to do that. So certainly I think the industry itself has answer for some of that shortage that's out there, in that, yeah, there may be a shortage of the talent you're looking for, but how much time, how much money have you invested in raising that talent pool? A lot of companies are recruiting and they're going, I want someone with 6 years experience. And they're borrowing from Peter, or they're pinching from other companies. So, they need to ask themselves something. What have I done to raise the talent pool for everyone else? So that's one part of it. I think the second part then is, certainly in IT, it's very easy to pigeonhole a candidate. Either it's binary, they have a technology or they don't have a technology. What we're finding now, certainly with machine learning and AI, and machine learning's been around for 20, 30 years, the actual syntax of coding can be done now with AI. So as a coder, is it important that I know the syntax of Java over the syntax of Python? Probably not as much as it did 5 or 6 years ago. So what's important now is the skill of understanding how code is put together, how applications are architected, the logic behind it. And I think some companies have been slow to come to the realization that if someone can code in Java and I need a Python developer, well, chances are, if I hire this person, because they've got the right attitude, they've got the right aptitude, they're in my geography, they're in the right price point, well, how long will it take them to become a productive Python developer if we're using AI as part of the process? And that's a risk I think companies aren't willing to take yet. And I don't know why, because I've seen it myself over the years. I've seen what I call the polyglot developers, the polyglot IT people who have jumped from position to position and been successful really quickly, because there is a cost to leaving a job open. And I know it's a crude way to calculate it, but let's see, without using a calculator, let's say you're paying a developer 120,000 a year. That's 12,000 a month. So by logic, then they must be worth, or the value they bring to your organization must be 12,000 every month. Otherwise, why are you paying them that money? So you wait 6 months to fill a job. then that's 12 by 6. That's, that's 72,000 in opportunity cost or whatever you want to call it. Never mind all the other stuff you've lost, but that's the opportunity cost alone that you've lost. Would it, and I've had this conversation with lots of clients going, if you'd hired the first person you met that you thought was good, but you wanted to see 6 more, you wouldn't be in this position now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a talent shortage? Yes, for certain skills there is, but the market tends to correct itself. Yeah. Where I think in IT, where the market needs to do more work is in bringing along the juniors, creating more internships and graduate placement courses for them to get that first, that first 1 or 2 years experience that's critical for them. That I think would be transformative. And then to keep an open mind on, don't keep searching for the purple squirrel, as we call it, or the unicorn hire that oh, they have to have this, 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 and this. That candidate probably doesn't exist.
No.
And I walk away from Rex where if I ask a client, how long has that job been open? If they tell me 6 months, I'm probably tuned out, or I'm going to ask for a retainer and say, yeah, I'll take it on, but I'm getting some money up front. Something isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It must be so frustrating when you come across things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. So would you say companies are not adapting quickly enough to building teams with modern skills?
Yeah, I think there's a nervousness there to hire for aptitude and attitude, not just skill. And I know there's a big trend out there at the moment, and all this they're calling it skills-based recruitment. And that probably works in a multitude of industries. But for IT, I think for a lot of the stuff that's within the IT world, if someone has domain experience, not necessarily in exactly what your technology, but if they have the domain experience, then I believe they can become productive far faster. I believe it because I've seen it myself. I've seen it across over the years, lots of companies that took that punt. So yeah, I mean, the other thing about IT is what's in demand today may not be in demand. When I got into recruitment, COBOL. I don't know if you even remember what COBOL was. It was a programming
No.
language. COBOL and RPG and these AS400 machines. Essentially, the Y2K problem that everyone thought the world was going to end when it came from 1999 and went to
Yeah, I remember
2000.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of these systems are written in COBOL and sitting on AS400 machines and RPG. Those developers were earning huge money. There was some of them on contracts for 15,000 a day, right up until the calendar clicked over. The world didn't end because a lot of them did their job, But 3 months later, you possibly couldn't give a COBOL programmer away. And to this day, it's still very few. So that's the other thing with IT, that the technology changes quite rapidly. So advice I'd give to any candidates that are in IT is, stay relevant. What you have today may not be what's in demand tomorrow. So always, always keep abreast of what's happening in the market, because the last thing you want to do is be left behind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
forever changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting more and more sophisticated as time goes on. There's always something new coming out every single day, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's really an insane time.
Yeah.
So let's get your view on the kind of one of the big debates happening this year is the work from home versus in office. What are you seeing in the market?
So COVID moved this whole debate on about 20 years. It was great because there'd always been that idea of working from home, remote work. Hybrid really wasn't in the debate back then. I'm lucky I'd worked from home before COVID happened, and I knew it worked. I knew it could be done. Um, and then COVID came, and everyone had to go and work from home, and businesses didn't shut down, productivity didn't disappear. But I think as COVID, as the epidemic was kind of cured or solved or whatever you want to call it, and people started to return to the office, there was lots of different reasons people returned to the office. Some were just bored. They were tired of sitting at home. You got to understand, some people were lonely. It's all right for me. I have my wife and my daughters. I had company. Other people were sitting in their kitchens, in their apartment, all on their own, no interaction. So they wanted to come back to the office. And then there was the old style managers who kind of went, if I don't see them, they're not working. There was more, I suppose, there was more kind of liberal managers that thought, yeah, we get them back 2 or 3 days a week, we'll see what happens. But I think what clinched it for me, Sam, was one particular R&D manager who explained it to me with the term serendipitous creativity. And I asked him, what do you mean by that? He said, it's all good and well for us to work remotely and we'll have our Teams meetings and our Slack channels, he said. But where we're losing out, he said, is when everyone was here and we had our meeting and we had a problem and everyone was trying to figure it out. In a lot of the cases, he said 6 or 7 people went to the canteen for a coffee. And half an hour later, after a chat, the solution emerged. Or 2 or 3 people went aside somewhere else. But I suppose his catch-all phrase for it was serendipitous creativity. The creativity that happens when people are together and talking and interacting in a way that you yourself, you just can't replicate that on a Teams meeting or a Zoom call. So I understand, certainly from an IT and an R&D perspective, why hybrid seems to be the model that has come to the fore, as in we want everyone together for certain days. In the west of Ireland, it seems to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So people work from home Monday and Friday, and they're at the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The remote hasn't gone away. And again, it was another interesting senior engineering manager that explained it to me. He said, it's better not to have a closed policy. Yeah, hybrid first. But if there's someone that has the skills we need that's going to move the dial forward for our business, and they don't want to be in the office, or they're geographically not capable of being in the office, well, we should hire them because they're going to, it's going to move the dial forward for us. That creates difficulty, I understand, for HR, because then you have people coming in going, Mary gets to work remotely. Why don't I? Why? What? Yeah. Which is why I love recruitment, because we just hire people and move on and leave HR with all that stuff. But I can see where it will create tension. But I think over time, that seems to be the solution people are landing on, which is hybrid, but we'll keep remote there as an option if it's going to be something that will turn the dial up for us.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think companies need to be more flexible now, don't they? Because I think sometimes they're losing out on really good candidates for being too rigid. But again, you can see the arguments for both sides, and I just think what
I
suits.
think Sam, I think it's a lot of the argument is around how easy is it to measure someone's performance. That's, I think, key to the it's easy to measure someone in recruitment. When I managed a big team before I went out and set up CompuStaff, I always used to say, at the board at the end of the month, that's what tells the real story. So it was very easy for everyone to know where they stood or how they were doing, because you either hit your figures or you didn't. So any sales job, it's easy to say, how well are you doing when you're hitting your targets? You're not. Same with IT, because now in IT, they're using agile methodologies now, and they tend to have stand-ups every week or 2 weeks, scrum meetings, they call it. Everyone has to talk about what they've done in the last week and what they're going to do in the next week. So it's very hard to hide in IT now. It's hard to bluff. Years ago, you could sit in a room and say, I'll write 5 lines of code. And you come out a week later going, oh, we're having a problem with the compiler. Now in the teamwork, so it's very easy to I suppose, to grade where someone is or how they're doing and look at their productivity. So that makes it easier, I think, to manage remote people. Where it's difficult, I think, is where there's more of a gray area in terms, how do you measure a teacher's performance? Is it because their grades are A or B? But then if they're taking the weakest children through and getting them to pass level, is that better performance than the top teacher?
Yeah,
You see the argument I'm making.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Aaron, that was really good. Really appreciate you coming on today and sharing your
Thanks,
insights.
Sam.
For anyone listening, whether they're business hiring or candidate looking, how's the best way to reach you or CompuStaff?
LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn, and our website, CompuStaff.ie. It's a basic enough site, but all the information is there. Don't take it personally if I don't engage straight away. I tend to be. It's another thing I'm noticing at the moment. we're being hit up with a lot of information. I'm actually looking at an AI bot at the moment that would
Oh,
take over my inbox for me and start to get back to people because, but yeah, and I'm happy to help people along if I can. Passionate about graduates as well. I love to help graduates along as much as I can. So if you are a grad and you're looking for a bit of advice, yeah, feel free. And if you're senior or if you're a company looking to figure out how to hire the next unicorn, I'm your guy. Well, me and Geraldine here in the office, the two of us here.
brilliant. Great stuff. That's been a thought leader through. I'll catch you
Thank
next
you,
time.
Sam.